Hey everybody, happy Thursday. I know a lot of you have cold call plans this weekend. So just some real, and Easter too. So I got this little guy behind me. He's right. It is Easter too. But some cold call plans this weekend. Just some real quick tips on how to pay and making sure that your cold callers are setting estimates up for you properly. So real quick, there's so many ways you can pay. Doesn't really matter how you pay. But a couple things to keep in mind. One is that you have to pay at least minimum wage. So, even if you're going all commission on leads, however you're going to do it, you got to make sure that your employees are being topped up to at least minimum wage. So keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is keep it simple. If it's super complicated and they're trying to do physics and algebra to try to figure out how much they earned, it's not going to work. So I would suggest one of two methods. Either you give them a base rate plus a nominal amount per lead that they get, or you give them a bigger commission per lead. So for me, that would either be at this time of the year, I mean, they should be getting at least one. If they're not getting one lead an hour in April, you might need a new cold caller. But take that for what it is. I'm probably gonna go $10 an hour plus $5 for every lead. Means if they're getting 2 leads an hour, which they should be getting, it's $20 an hour for them, which is fantastic for you. But the better part for you is the more leads per hour they get, it drives down how much you're paying per lead. So if you think about it, if they got 2 leads an hour, you're paying them $20, the $10 base rate, plus $5 a lead. But if they get 4 leads an hour, you're paying them $30. So now you're paying 30 divided by 4, whatever the easy math is on that. It's less than $10, let's say, per lead. So that's one way. That's probably the way that I would do it. Or I would just go $10 a lead. Make sure that you're topping them up to at least that. But if they're getting 4 leads an hour, you're paying 40 in that case. So it costs you a little bit more. It keeps, in the first way, the better they do, the better it is for them and the better it is for you. That's how I would set it up. The other things that I'd make sure is they're getting all the information and that they're setting the lead up, the logistics for you. So if they're knocking on the door, what I would want them to say is something along the, are interested in having a free estimate. Like, again, they have their cold call pitch. Homeowner says yes. What I'd be then doing is I'd have them set the logistics. So I'd be like, fantastic. My manager, Aaron, he's actually just doing an estimate for one of the neighbors up the street. So I'll have him come by in a few minutes here to do an estimate for you. But can you just get your contact info for him? Great. So first name, last name, phone number. That's the cell number. Yep. Great. Email. Great. Perfect. I've got that for you. And just so you know, so I set the logistics. Just so you know, Aaron's going to come by. He's going to introduce himself before he gets started. He's got a couple quick questions for you before he does the estimate for you, and he'd like to introduce himself as well. What that does is it eliminates, one, it sets the stage for you. You can then actually go tell your story. But the other thing that it does is you don't go knock on the door, and all of a sudden, they think that you're there with the price. It's the most awkward thing ever. When you knock on the door, and they're like, oh, great, nice to see you, Aaron. So how much? Like, oh, I haven't walked around yet, but I'm going to tell you. So it's so important. You'll book so much more work if they just let the homeowner know, one, how long until you're there, two, what you're going to do when you get there. He's going to introduce himself. He's got a couple questions for you before he gets started with a quote. Homeowner's like, great. You then show up. They're expecting you to introduce yourself and ask them a few questions, and it's going to go that much better for you. So I hope you've got big plans for this weekend. If you don't, make some big plans for this weekend. See your family, but get some stuff done too. It's a huge time of the year to make progress, which means momentum. Make sure you're doing the things to keep momentum going with you, not against you. Have an amazing rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow.